What's up, y'all? It's your girl Chey Vlogs, and I am back with another video. And if you are new here, just want to say hey, thank you guys for hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and of course turn on that post notification bell so you can be notified the next time I post or go live. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Okay, so today's video, I want to give a brief story time of how I basically started my life over when I quit my job and decided to move abroad. So back in, what was that, 2019, was it 2019? No, 2020, towards like August, I started to get these really crazy like health problems where I couldn't explain what was going on with me. I had never experienced anything like this before. I went to, for the first time in my life, I went to a few dermatologists. I'm going to see what's going on with my hands and my eczema. They just took all my vitals and alright guys, so I got my smoothie together. So I got some dandelion root, some kale, some cherries that are already pitted. I got some plums in there, some red crisp apples. I think they're pink crisp apples. All of them wanted to just put me in clinical trials, but I'm like, can you guys even explain what the root of the problem is? Like, do you guys even know what's going on with me? And so it was very hard to find a African-American dermatologist in LA that wasn't like, you know, gonna cost me $1 million, because at this time I still was living paycheck to paycheck. I wasn't making that much. I was making a decent amount, but my rent was so high, my car note, my insurance, everything was just expensive. Okay, so I really couldn't afford to get like a $2,000 bill from a dermatologist. I was going to the doctor, they had me taking all this stuff, rubbing on all this stuff, and it just was not getting better. Okay, so my sinus had got really bad as well. So I'm like, dang, like, is my body shutting down? What's going on with me? I was just basically freaking out because I had no idea what was happening. So I decided, hey, okay, our lease is up. Well, yeah, it was up. We were paying month to month at that time. So I decided, let's go ahead and move. Like, the apartment that we were living in was crap. Like, I hated that apartment downtown. It was better than our last apartment, but in a sense, it was like almost like neck and neck. Okay, so I was like, let's go ahead and let's try to move out of here, because this property management, I was literally on the board, like the fence about suing them. Okay, they suck. They didn't want to fix anything. We literally couldn't flush our toilet. Our roof in the bathroom was raining, so I had to literally, every time the people upstairs took a bath or a shower, I don't know what it was, I'm gonna say it was a bath. Every time they took a bath, water just came pouring in our ceiling. It was unlivable conditions. Just unlivable conditions. Okay, so I'm like, let's go ahead and move. So we decide, let's go look at Vegas. Okay, I'm like, I don't want to be in LA anymore. I'm kind of sick of LA. So we start looking for apartments to Vegas. I only had 2 days off, which was Saturday and Sunday. So I would drive to Vegas with my brother on one of those days of the weekend. We would go look at a bunch of apartments that day, see which one we liked. If we liked it, you know, of course, apply for it. So we have found a couple of them that we really like. This is SW Apartments. This is the view from the second floor. Units come with a TV, and we have washer and dryer here. Master bathroom. Okay. Bedroom.
Once you apply, the security deposit will be based off of your screening and background results, and that process can take about 3 to 7 business days. We are open every big night to
They had like a couple of dog parks there. So I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Like, this is perfect for me and Eddie. It had enough space for both of us. We'll both be able to get a room. You know, just really nice. Everything was really nice. The trash situation was like valet trash, so I was like, ooh, we upgraded. we put the application in. We got approved for the apartment, and this is around the end of January time, like January. No, the middle of January. Okay, so we were waiting. They were like, we're gonna call you, we're getting your lease set up, we're gonna call you within a week to have you sign the papers and then go ahead and put your initial deposit down. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm at work every day, like checking my phone, checking my email, checking my phone. A week goes by. I'm like, okay, Eddie, they haven't called us. Let me go ahead and reach out to them. Maybe they, you know, are busy or they got caught up, or I don't know. Just let me go ahead and reach out to them. So I go ahead and call them. They're like, yeah, we're working on it. We see that, you know, you guys got approved, blah, blah, blah. I'll send it over within the week. The next week goes by, and I'm like constantly checking my email because I want to get out of this apartment, you know what I mean? So slowly but surely, like, starting to pack stuff, pack up a couple of things, because I'm like, I'm ready to go, you know what I mean? I'm ready to go. So when they say sign this lease, put this deposit money down, I just want to dart, you know what I mean? I want to go, I want to leave this place, like I'm done, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I need to know when our lease is gonna come through so that I can start cutting off bills and all that stuff. So fast forward, it was like maybe 3 weeks had went by and we still hadn't got our lease from the people in Vegas. So at that point, Eddie brought to me the idea that maybe we should just not do that, and maybe we should just move straight to Africa. So our initial plan was to move either to Vegas or to Atlanta, Georgia for 1 year, and then save up and then move to Africa. So when he brought it to me, at that point, I was just completely thrown off, because I'm like, we're literally about to get our apartment. Let's go stay here for a while. Let's save, you know, money and stuff like that. I can still work with the same job out here, or I could get a different one. And I wanted to get a different one because that job, there was a lot of racial issues that I didn't like. I was already mentally over it. I never went out to any events they invited me to. I never hung out with anybody. Like, you know, I just never did that. They tried to get me out almost every week. They wanted to know so much of what I was doing. I never told them. So then they started to watch my YouTube channel from our car, and then started to bring up stuff that they saw on my YouTube channel, like, oh, I saw you went to, you know, a race this week, like, where was that? Oh, I want to go, and stuff like that. And I would just pretend like, oh, they move around every week, blah, blah, blah. Like, I didn't know I was clueless, you know? So he proposed the idea of moving to Africa. So I'm like, get out of here, like, shut up with that, you know what I mean? Like, we had our plan, blah, blah, blah. So at this point, I'm done talking to him. I just want him to leave me alone, because I'm like, now he's talking foolish. We already know what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to stick to the plan, save for a year and things like that. So he's like, no, let's just move, let's just do it, you know? Like, I have a feeling like something's not right with this Vegas apartment, and if we don't go now, with everything that's going on, we're gonna get stuck in some nonsense. So I'm like, all right, whatever, you know. But at the same time, I'm listening to him, I'm taking it in. A day or two later, I ended up coming to him like, you're right. I think that would be a good idea for us to just go ahead and do it now. It is getting really crazy. I'm sick of these mask mandates and all these kind of crazy stuff. So I'm like, okay, let's just do it. So I'm like, let's do it. You know what I mean? What do I have to lose? I came from basically nothing. So I'm like, what do I have to lose? You know, if anything goes wrong, I can just come back. It's nothing but a flight away. So we ended up doing a bunch of research and watching a bunch of videos and stuff like that, basically planning out the move. And I'm like, okay, let's set a date and let's do it, you know. So I'm like, let's do it before I turn 25. Let's just go, let's just do it. So we set the date of February 23rd, 2021. Now, like I just said, this was like the middle of January that we decided to do this. So we didn't have like years that we have been planning this. Like, it was literally 2 months, you know what I mean? Literally 2 months. So I'm like, okay, it was probably like the second week of January all this went down. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it, you know. And when I plan, I like to plan because I don't like error. Like, I'm scared of, you know, things going wrong. I'm scared of chaos. So I like to plan everything and basically over plan it. So we go ahead, we start planning things. We set the date for February 23rd. We buy our tickets. I started calling the bill places, you know, to shut off things on the 21st of February so we can be out. And then I'm like telling my mom, like, hey, is it okay if we stay for you for like with you for like 2 or 3 days at the end of the month, right? So she didn't know why. I'm just like, we just moving to another apartment. So in her head, we were moving to Vegas, you know. And so we didn't decide to tell anyone until like 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks, probably, maybe 2 weeks before we even left, because we didn't want anybody's opinion going into what we had going on. We knew we were gonna do it on our own anyway, so it wasn't like anybody was gonna help us. They were only gonna offer up thoughts and opinions, and that wasn't something that we were super interested in. We were just like, we want to do this for us, and we know you guys are gonna have, you know, certain reservations about us moving to an entire different country, literally across the world, you know what I mean? Of course, who wouldn't? My job had been pressuring me to take my PTO, and I had a PTO and vacation days. So they're like, take these days, take the days, take the days. So I had like maybe 3 weeks saved up of PTO. So what I did was work until 2 weeks before I left. Then I put in my time. So I'm like, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to go visit my dad, because they were all in my business. So I couldn't post anything on social media. I didn't post anything on Instagram. I didn't post anything on YouTube. I didn't say anything. Basically, I'm at work, right? I'm at work in my work van. I'm buying suitcases. I'm buying, you know, electrical chargers. Like, I'm doing all kinds of stuff at work. I'm literally pulling up to my car. I will park around the corner on purpose. So I'll pull up to my car, put my suitcase and all the stuff that I bought inside of my trunk, and then I will go drop the work van off and then go home. So I go ahead and I take my 3 week vacation. And so the 2 weeks that I'm off, I'm basically getting the last couple of things. I'm shopping. I'm doing a vlog every day for the month of February. I did a little like personal vlog on my phone, basically doing the countdown of each day and how I was feeling, what I was doing that day, what I needed to get done, all that kind of stuff. So it's coming down to the time that we need to fly. We had a couple mishaps with the pets being able to be on board of the plane when I was leaving. So I had to push back my flight until March 4th, okay? So my brother left February 23rd and I left on March 4th, okay? So with the pets. So I'm like, I'm leaving. I still have a few days on my, I have maybe like a week left on my PTO. And my job was like texting me like, hey, so after this vacation, like, are you gonna be back? We haven't heard from you, blah, blah, blah. We just wanna make sure like you're gonna come back to work. A few days go by, maybe like I have like 4 days left. They text me again like, hey, we want to make sure you're coming back to work. I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling kind of sick. To go get the test, you know, blah, blah, blah. They're like, okay. So I don't respond to them for like 2 days because they're literally blowing up my phone. So I'm like, you guys, I'm feeling sick. Like, can you just give me some time so I could go and, you know, take myself to the doctor so I can get this test and stuff like that, so I can give you guys the results so that you can do the time off, which was another 2 weeks. But they started calling my cousin, they started calling my mom, like all my emergency contacts, they started calling them, hey, like, we heard Chey has this, and, you know, we want to make sure she's okay, and is she gonna come to work? Do you know, where is she now? Like, all kind of invasive questions. So my cousin called me like, hey, like, your job just called me. They're asking me like, are you sick and are you gonna come to work and blah, 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 blah. Like, where are you? Are you in the hospital? Like, all kind of stuff. So I'm like, this is getting too much. Now, at this point, I'm literally about to leave. Like, I'm at LAX, my cousin is telling me. So I'm like, okay, I'll deal with it when I get to Turkey. Like, I'll call them and stuff like that when I get to Turkey. Take that 16-hour flight, I get to Turkey. I'm in the airport, I turn my phone on. I got maybe like 10 messages and missed calls from 2 people that I work with at my job. And basically they're like, we need to know, where's your stuff, blah, blah, blah. And at this point, I still had a couple of days on my, like I said, on my PTO, my vacation days, or whatever you want to call them. I still had a couple of days. So I had like 3 more days or 2 more days or something like that. But they're like, we need it now, like, we need it now. And I'm like, okay, bro, like, at this point, you get on my nerves. I text them a long message basically saying like, hey, you guys are harassing my emergency contacts. That's not what it's supposed to be for. I thought you guys were more professional than this. Knowing I was lying because I knew they weren't professional. But I'm like, you guys are supposed to be more professional than this. and you guys are basically annoying my emergency contacts. You guys are questioning them on where I'm at, on what's going on with me, and all kind of stuff. Like, it's just multiple calls and texts to them, and that's not how emergency contact is supposed to be. So I'm like, you know what, you guys don't have to worry about me. I just won't come back. I'll deal with whatever I have to deal with on my own, and it is what it is. So they're like, oh, so are you quitting, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, basically, yes, and I'm quitting because you guys are harassing my emergency contacts. I can't even go to the doctor in peace to go get my results. You guys know it takes a couple of days to get the results, and you guys are harassing me. It's been literally like 24 hours, and you guys are harassing me. I told you I took the test this morning. You guys are harassing me for the results. It takes 24 to 48 hours to get the results if you do the regular test. So I'm like, there's no way that I could have got it in 16 hours. Like, can you guys chill out? So they're like, oh, like, we're so sorry. Like, we'll basically give you some time. Go ahead and do it. I said, you don't have to worry about it. I won't be coming back. Quit my job in the airport at Turkey while I was literally panicking looking for my dog because I couldn't find him for like 2 hours. So yeah, then in the next, I think it was like another like 8-hour flight or something like that to Tanzania. So we took that flight. We touched down at Tanzania at like 3 a.m. That process was a lot smoother. There was a little bit of stuff of me showing like the paperwork with the pets, but that's just expected. And all that, I detail like every part of the trip that I experienced that I wish I could have done better, or I wish I would have knew more about, that I ended up getting caught up with during the process. I detail all of that in my book. So all the details that go along with this trip, me wishing I knew things that I didn't know beforehand, me packing certain things and forgetting certain things. I did the best that I could with the knowledge that I had, and it wasn't much out there of like what you need to take. So what I learned during the way is what I put in my book. So if you guys haven't already, go ahead and get that book. It's called Abroad to Africa. No, it does not mean that you have to necessarily move to Africa. This is for any country that you move to outside of the US, what you would need. So yeah, guys, that is basically my story of how I changed my life. I quit my job in the airport in Turkey, and I decided to move to Africa. Tanzania was my first country, and now I'm actually residing in Egypt. For those who don't know, I encourage everyone to get out there and travel. But it's been nice talking to you guys. I hope to see you in the next video. Be sure you guys hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on your post notification bell so you can be notified the next time I post or go live. And until next time, peace.